here with Steve Key. How are you?
Good.
Good. We're sitting in the dressing room upstairs at Bug at
the Samuel Friedman. Yeah.
I almost said Samuel L. Jackson.
At the Samuel L. Jackson Theatre. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah,
Okay. Well, first off, tell me what you're sipping on today.
What did you get me?
Cappuccino.
Cappuccino.
I have,
which is great. I don't
chai
usually.
Latte.
Yeah.
From St. Kilda Coffee, right down the street, 46th. Very tasty. Not sponsored. Okay, so you're currently in Bug. Right now.
Yep.
Tell me what that's been like.
Wow. It's artistically and socially, personally, and in terms of life adventures, three interesting different categories.
Yes.
What do you want me to
focus
in on?
First, I want to ask, so you and this cast got to do it in Chicago.
Yes.
Did you do it technically twice and then COVID shut you down?
Did. We did it in Chicago, and I guess was 20. COVID really hit in 20, right? You graduated in 22, right?
Yes.
So you were in Chicago at the time.
So March 2020 was when we were like extended spring break, and then
March 2020. Okay, yeah. So that's what it hit. So we were cast in 19 and 20. We opened, and then we were shut down in March on the last weekend. And then they decided to, this is at Steppenwolf, and they decided to start it up at Steppenwolf again after, and we had another full run. So we closed on the final weekend of the first run, and then we got a whole nother run, which was awesome. It was just amazing.
Have you enjoyed getting to do it getting to work on it that many times?
It's marvelous. Marvelous.
I mean, has the show changed for any of you since?
I think it hasn't really changed in any substantial ways, any interpretive ways. You know, it's really the same, but it's gotten richer and deeper and more subtle, and that's not merely the acting and directing. It's also the design. I think the design is fundamentally the same, but better.
Yeah,
you know,
I've seen photos of the set in Chicago.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, it's the exact same.
It is. It's
wonderful.
pretty, except it's slightly smaller here, which is
is
good
it?
for the
Okay.
claustrophobic, feeling of the production.
It was interesting. When I first saw it a couple weeks ago, we were sitting way up, like last row of the mezzanine.
Okay.
And
How was that?
It was great.
Was it?
I mean,
It seems like this is a great theater. I mean, you don't really have a bad seat.
There's not a bad seat. The seating up there is so angled that no one's really in front of you, which is great.
And from up there, I think there's a really nice effect with the set, because this is something you would understand. I don't want to pooch the show at all. I don't want. You know what I mean? Pooch.
Yeah.
That's a Chicago Second City term, actually. Do you know that term?
No, I don't.
Pooch means like when you pooch a joke, like if you're doing improv and there's a known funny event that happens in the story, but everybody has that in their mind, and accidentally sometimes somebody will kind of do the joke before the joke, and that's called pooching the joke.
Okay.
So it's basically like giving away too many details. Is spoiler.
Yeah.
So I don't want to spoil. I don't do any spoiler stuff, but obviously they're bugs.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Potentially they're bugs.
Maybe.
Okay. The way the set is designed, and more here than it was in Chicago. There's a smooth black area around the set, and the set kind of juts out into the space of the theater, and it kind of is like a large platform of a microscope in some sense. It's not overt.
No.
But from up there, it's the way I've seen it, not having seen the show from up there, but looking at the set from up there to kind of get a sense of the sight lines.
Yeah.
It really looks like a awesome perspective.
It really and I enjoyed it because Heather Gilbert, who did the lighting,
brilliantly.
The lighting itself is so good because with that black around the stage, obviously the black is going to swallow up all of that light. Yeah. And so you get to a point, I don't know if it was my brain or what it was, but it gets to a point where I was like, did she do something lighting wise to make it look like darker the further, like it did not look any darker. I actually texted her after and I was like, thank you for allowing us to see the entire show. Because I've been to many a play where it is just so dark on the stage that I feel like I'm having to squint to see anything.
There are scenes where it is dark.
There is.
But it's so it's appropriately lit for those scenes.
Well, and I was like, I love the use of like real lamps and not adding a spot to the lamp, because the lamp is all that's needed. Source. A couple times I was trying to figure out if there was something happening with the lighting to allow for more of something, or if my brain was just like, no, the way my eyes are focusing in on where the stage is being lit. Like, I don't know. This is what my eyes do. I don't know if your eyes do this. When you're in a dark room and you can see, like, your eyes have adjusted to the dark, but if you look at one spot, everything starts to get dimmer. I mean, darker. And so when I was watching the show, every now and then I was like, I can't tell if the lighting is coming in to where they are, or if I am just that focused on them, that with this black around the stage, everything around me just looks like everything is getting so much darker.
I think she's just really very good at refining it down to the point where it looks like the light is just coming from the practicals.
Yeah.
And it doesn't look like she's using a lot of instruments.
No.
However, she is.
Yes.
And it's wonderful. And like the scenes when they're in the dark room during one of the darker scenes that we're talking about, and suddenly there's this disruption from outside, and you realize it's the middle of a bright sunny day, and the light pours in, and all of these things. It just it's really so successful, because both that and the sound design do a great job of setting this claustrophobic little world that just gets weirder and weirder, and so more and more detached from the rest of existence. And then there are these little pops of light coming in from out, or sound of the bugs outside, or the highway. You know, all these things that kind of still put you in a place, put you in a context, which is wonderful. You know, and I love, before my entrances, sometimes I just lay backstage and listen to that design. The sound design is beautiful.
And I was, so I read the play before I saw the show, which I've had friends ask me if I wished I hadn't read the play before.
Right.
I read it because...
You saw it before you saw it the first time?
Before I saw it the first time.
Right, okay.
And I just thought it was so interesting that, like, the AC turning on and off is written in to the play.
Yeah.
Which I don't know of any other show that is like, AC turns on.
These environmental things are I don't know, it's kind of cliche to say characters within the play, because but they're more than that, because they're part of Peter's paranoia. You know, they are noting that he's noting these details is a really subtle way of seeing his descent, or his
well, and I'm also like, I don't know, I think I asked my friend if she had noticed any of those sounds, and they're so well mixed for the theater that I think probably most people have no idea that they're on. I am just someone who hears literally everything. That's just how my brain works. And so I was like, I clocked every single time the AC turned on and off. The helicopter and the bugs, and like all of that.
The helicopters and the coffee machine, the crickets, and
all of it.
Like, I didn't realize, this is something really ridiculous. Well, first of all, I want to ask you something. We're about like 10 minutes deep, 5 minutes deep, and we really haven't given a basic idea of the story. Do you want me to give a little synopsis without?
Yes.
Do you think that's appropriate? So basically, what it is, it's a story. It's a kind of a love story about a drifter, an odd drifter who comes along, and this takes place in Oklahoma, just I would say outside of the big city, kind of as it starts to move towards rural, and Agnes White. I call her Aggie because my character calls her Aggie, lives in a motel room, and she works in a little bar club, and she's very kind of she's kind of lonely and living a rather isolated life. She has a really good friend who comes over and parties with her, and she does a lot of drugs and a lot of drinking, and she's had some terrible losses in her life. It starts out a little foreboding in the beginning because her husband has apparently gotten out of jail, and that's a big, scary potentiality. Yes. And that's me. Yeah. And which is awesome. I love this part. It's so much fun. I'm going to cry so hard in a couple weeks when this show ends. Anyway, so into that comes this drifter, and somehow these two lonely people find safety and peace and some kind of comfort in one another, and it's a very unexpected relationship that develops, and which is challenged by the husband who's getting out of jail and other things. And then I don't know, I don't want to give too much away, but there's this descent into paranoia and conspiracy theory, and which is where the sound, all that delicate sound design becomes so important. And until it explodes, so to speak. Yeah. Right? Yeah. And that sounds really simple, but it's so complicated. It's so nuanced. Complex, and it's so complex. And one of the things I love about the play, it's just speaking about what it's about, and is that frequently I'll talk to the audience after the play, and they will ask me questions about, was the doctor real? I'm not going to tell you about the doctor, but was the doctor real? Did he even show up? Was that actually, or other questions about the theories that they have about why things are happening. And it's fascinating because you watch these two people that you love, you fall in love with, fall into these weird theories, and you see how they get there to the point where actually some of the audience goes with them. Yeah. And when you look at our society right now, and you're looking all at possibly family members or friends, or maybe you don't even know anybody, but you're just thinking, how the fuck are those people out there getting absorbed in whatever, the QAnon or any other conspiracy that's going on right now, and they seem like they are different species. How the hell could this be happening? Right. How are they so vulnerable to this? Right. And I think on some level this play allows you to have some level of empathy for how one person might go to these places. And I think that's a good thing. I don't know that we'll move beyond the moment in history that we're in if we don't have empathy and understanding for the people that we are actually in great opposition with. So that's really bizarre, because there's also talk about chips under the skin, to monitor people, and this play was written 30 years ago. Yeah.
I think that's one of the biggest notes that I see, like when people are commenting about the show or anything like that. And we talked before, we started recording, that the play has not changed.
The play has not changed. Not a word.
Absolutely nothing.
Yeah, not a word.
Since people are kind of like, why is this on Broadway now? And 30 years later, I think, I was sitting, even just reading the play, I was sitting there and I was like, yes, I understand why this is here.
I mean, it's now. It's more prescient and urgent than many of the plays that were written this year.
Yes.
You know? Which is wild.
Yes, it is.
And unfortunate. And actually, I will say, to some extent, I think some of the success we've had is a result of how absorbed people get in this because of all these things. And frankly, I could deal with a little less prescience, and I would deal with a little less success, because I hate that we are so. It's such a that this play speaks so much to our moment. Yeah. I hate that we are in the moment that we're in, but we are, and I think the play has an important function for those who see it within this moment.
Well, and you said that
it's crazy,
the audience
and fun
slowly starts to go with
some of them. It's really interesting. Some people, there's such a variety of responses.
One of the things, I read the play because I heard so many different
Yeah.
thoughts about it. And I was like, what did I just buy a ticket to?
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, I will find this script and I will read it.
Did you dig the play?
I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it. I loved reading it, and I loved seeing it because it reads, I mean, on the page it reads so well.
It does read better than... I'm not a big fan of reading plays unless I'm working on them. But this play actually reads pretty well.
Well, and I mean, I don't love reading to begin with. And I think I got through reading this play in about an hour.
Yeah.
Maybe 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And I remember getting to the end and sitting up. I was like at a friend's house. We're about to go to bed. And I literally sat up in bed and I was like, what the fuck? Like, I just was like, that's it, that's how it ends. I was like not ready for it to be over. But I also think
what an ending, right?
It's written so well for those two characters, and also Carrie and Amir like make us like them.
Oh yeah.
And these are characters that, I mean, I think it starts out you kind of want to feel for Agnes anyway.
Of course, yes.
But then when he comes in, you're like as a woman at least, I was like, I don't know
if I trust
this at all. And then and then you keep going and you're like, no, I could, like, I'm gonna get on board. I'm getting on board with it. I understand.
And given the context of her life,
yes,
you kind of understand why she needs it. And
well, the vulnerability of it all, just because of her history and all of that.
So this Carrie Coon, if some of you guys out there aren't aware, she's outstanding.
She's fantastic.
She's really outstanding. You've seen her maybe in Gilded Age or White Lotus or Leftovers, or she was also in Ghostbusters, the movie. And she's a Marvel supervillain, I think.
Yes, she plays Proxima Midnight. She voices that character. I don't know if she did the other stuff,
but anyway, this is unlike anything she's ever. It really is, and I think it's so marvelous. And check this out: one of the guys who's covers me in the show, he's a brilliant actor and a playwright, Michael Lawrence, and his daughter, his friend's daughter, is in school at the School of the Arts in New York. I don't know what school that is, but the girls in the school are all reading this play. They want to do scenes from this play. Wow. And Carrie, I think, has become a hero for young actors, young female actors. And it's just the best you could have, because she's a strong person.
Yes.
She has a strong will of her own. She's kind. She's utterly talented. She is beautiful, but she isn't about beauty at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I think that's just, it's so wonderful that she's become like a role model for these young ladies, because she's not some influencer. She's not somebody who's just talking about makeup shit like that. You know, she's not just about her fame does not come at all from her looks.
Right.
Even though she's a beautiful woman. But her fame, her success is not riding on that. Her success is riding on what she brings to the table as an artist.
Right.
And that's awesome.
I think it was so...
And in this play, it's so different from anything you've seen on camera.
I've been catching up on my Carrie Coon, and I was so excited to see this, because after reading the play, I was like, this is crazy. This is not at all what I expect her to do. And I mean, I want to see her on stage so much more.
Yeah.
I think she's
a powerhouse.
She started at the stage.
She's
you all
tiny.
started at the stage.
She's a tiny person, but she's huge.
I was actually, when I met her at the stage door, I was like, oh, you're like 2-3 inches taller.
She makes me look big, because I play the heavy. I'm the scary guy and the funny guy. And I like to say that. I mean, I like the reality of that.
Yes.
When do you find a part like this?
I mean,
it's such a brilliantly written. All of them are brilliantly written, but I just love the hell out of the character I'm playing.
Well, and
He's such an asshole.
You play it so well.
Thank you.
The first thing I said to you when I met you at the stage door was, I hated your character. Congratulations. Because I mean, I love to hate a character.
Yeah.
Especially if it's supposed to be if it's a character that I'm supposed to actually like the character, and I didn't like it. That's that's a little something else. But especially if it's the villain that I'm supposed to hate, like love to hate, that's fantastic.
And the complexity that that Tracy writes into this character, and all of the characters, but I'm focusing on mine, is marvelous, because in the end, and I say this sometimes to people that I meet after the show, I said, really, I'm the hero of the play, in a way, and you don't have to see that. It's a fact, but you don't have to see that because, but that's because he's written such a complicated character. He has. Yes. And the way it's set up at the beginning, that he is this imminent threat that's coming to town, and then he gets in town in such a jump scare kind of way, and there are jump scares all over this wonderful play, and then he fulfills. At first he's charming and he's funny, but then he really fulfills your fear about what he's about.
Yes, yeah.
And you don't realize it at that time, but when you see it again, it'll be interesting. Note what we're talking about. Note what happens, because there's a moment when, okay, this is so early in the play, I don't think it's okay. I think it's fine to mention. There's a moment in the play when I punch Carrie.
Yes.
When I punch Aggie.
Yeah.
When Goss punches Aggie. And that's a moment where seriously the audience, I think, kind of decides,
immediately,
the nail is in my coffin right there. But then when you see it the second time and you realize what we're talking about, you will understand a little. I mean, certainly there's no ever cause for.
It's when you're talking about
Lloyd,
yeah.
Yeah. And so, like, for her to throw that in Goss's face, I think, is something that will inspire some anger. Now, for it to come out in violence is obviously a good reason for people to hate the character. But if you realize that his pain and suffering is potentially, in some sense, equal to hers, then you understand where that comes from. And I know that was not followable by the listeners unless they saw the play. But
you can find the play online.
Yes,
and you can buy it at the Drama Bookshop.
You can buy the script, yeah. And as we were saying, it's a good read. And you have until March 8th. And from what I understand, tickets are still available.
Yes.
Yeah. Although it is one. I think, I don't know if this is officially true, but I've been hearing that from MTC, Manhattan Theatre Club, that this is possibly their second best-selling show.
Really?
Ever. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I remember when you guys have had 2 extensions.
Bernadette Peters and a Sondheim show should stay.
That would sell
at the top, and it's okay.
Yes. This is your second extension, right?
This is the second extension. Yeah, our first extension was till February 22nd.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
And I remember seeing that, and this was after we saw the show, and I remember just being like, with the amount of response that I'm reading, it's fantastic and wild to me that there is an extension because of this is not a show that I ever thought would sell as well as it did.
Yeah, it's not your typical Broadway fare.
It's not a happy-go-lucky play.
No.
Not that many of the plays that we have now
but
are.
Dude, I'm telling you, man, at the end of the night, when you get a standing ovation, sometimes you get a standing ovation. It's very nice to get a standing ovation. I think standing ovations do happen more frequently on Broadway. I think it's basically part of the custom. But
I don't know if
people
that's
hop
true
up with like they are making sure that each individual of them is heard.
Yes.
They are putting it out there.
Yes.
It's really sometimes a little overwhelming.
Yeah. Oh, I'm
at
sure.
The end,
yeah.
which is cool. And I mean, Carrie and Namir kick some serious ass
really
in this
do.
show, and they really deserve it. I think we all do, but I think particularly they really do.
Yeah. I wanted to ask, I mean, this role is, I feel like kind of like an actor's dream when it comes to the complexity of it. I wanted to ask, especially just with the show itself. I mean, it's kind of, we've said it, it's not an easy show. It's a heavier show. Does it follow you after the theater, or is it like once you're done, you're done?
I have that frequently.
Okay.
I do. I think I've, part of the reason why I was cast in this show is because of other shows I've done, right? So I think fortunately, I did some really interesting shows a long time ago, which were the kind of plays I would prefer to do, or the kind of parts I would prefer to do, which are really psychologically complicated, generally damaged in some way, or maybe not damaged, but driven and deeply emotionally psychologically complicated. So I played a lot of extreme characters, and like a lot of the time I don't really fully get out of them. I'll go out after and I'll have fun. I'll be Steve Key, hanging out with my friends. But I have had girlfriends say, Steve, I can't wait till this show's over. I can't wait till this character leaves our lives. You know what I mean? Especially because I do play some heavy duty. I've done some heavy duty things. Not this one.
Right.
This one is for some reason, and it wasn't in any of the incarnations. Maybe the first one it lived in me more, but not even then. And it's not because it's not as deep or as complicated. It certainly is, but I think so much of it is exorcised on stage.
Yeah.
And also, and the relationships are deep. Like the relationship between Jerry Goss and Aggie is heavy, man. It's deep, and
there's a lot unsaid, even with as much that is out on for us to see. There's a lot of complexities. with
and I
that.
think there is within it. Maybe this is just my character's desire so much that it becomes the actor's desire, but I do believe that Aggie, he loves Aggie for sure. He's fucked up. He doesn't express it well on all occasions, but like I said, he's the hero. In the end, he kind of,
Yeah, he's trying to help.
He's not that he's a failed hero,
right?
Not a successful hero, but and I believe that she loves him. I believe there is the depth of the significance of their relationship is not expendable. It's not leavable. It's something that will live in both of them, even if they permanently are not apart. I think it's that kind of relationship, and so that's really wonderful. But like I said, it doesn't sit heavy on me like some parts do.
Because I remember,
because also I'm the funny guy. It's hilarious, and actually I think it comes down to this. I think the character doesn't carry things. I think the character is volatile, and he moves through space kind of like a shark through water. He's a little ADD. He's distracted by this, by that, so that when so he can have a very intense, explosive moment with one person, and then later in the same scene have a jovial with that same person,
making a joke,
and so that being the psychological disposition of that character that I'm immersing myself in, I am in some sense free of carrying it around in the way that he's free of carrying it around. I think. Yeah. That's my diagnosis.
I always wonder, and I know Carrie gets asked this all the time in interviews of like, does it stay with her? And she always says that you get to put it all out there on the stage anyway. She says it's cathartic in a way. I remember leaving and being like, I'll be thinking about this for a little bit.
She runs a physical, emotional marathon. Every day.
Insane. It's actually insane. It's fantastic, but it's insane. So I started rereading the script before, and I was wondering. I'll just read right off the page. I said, the first scene in Bug where we see Agnes and Goss, it reads to me the way I read it. I think because of how short the sentences are done, it reads very quickly. The pace is very quick, and the way you guys do it, it is also fairly quick. It's very da-da-da-da-da-da. And I'm wondering how did it take you guys some time to find pacing with the show? Especially for that scene with it being your first time on stage together in this show, to find that sweet spot? Because I think the pacing specifically of that scene, because that was about as far as I got into the second read through of the script, it felt so natural. I'm just wondering, when it comes to the pacing of this show or just that scene, did that take some time to figure out what that was going to be, or was that just...
It's hard to say exactly, because the first time we did it was in 20.
Right.
And so a lot of those questions were resolved at that time. And, you know, I mean, we readdress it and maybe... But we don't really have to answer those questions again now. So I don't remember exactly, but I feel like it happened pretty quickly. I feel like the writing tells you what you need to know.
Yeah.
Like you were saying, I think your diagnosis of it is pretty true. I think that the writing tells you what needs to happen, and David's brilliant. So
yeah. Well, I remember reading it, and I was talking to a friend who saw you guys in Chicago, and she said it's her favorite Tracy Letts play that she's read and seen. And I was like, I just enjoy that this is written in a way that people actually talk.
Yes. Yeah.
Because sometimes you go to plays and it becomes a little too performative, a little too presentational to me.
Yeah.
And I say that about TV film as well. Like it all feels so natural.
Yeah.
Even with like Namir's character, the way his phrasing of lines are a little different than normal speech. But it's supposed to be. He is not. He's not like everyone else on that stage.
He's not your average Joe. No, he's
so. But I just found that so interesting to watch and to hear. For me, I was like, "This is so nice."
It's really. It is. That's the writing, but it's also David. David has such a clean approach, and he has such a fine-tuned bullshit monitor, and I shouldn't say that, because that doesn't characterize him as a director, because he really is one of the most, you know, demanding yet kind, comfortable directors you could possibly work with. He would not allow any bullshit on stage. He does not. It just won't. But the way he gets you there is really the most wonderful process. And I think he also chose his actors because he felt like we would tend to want to go to the same place he wants to go to. I haven't been really tight with either of these guys. I mean, I think we've both known each other and cared for each other over the years, but we haven't really been in social circles that much. Maybe a little more with David a long time ago. But since we were in our 20s, Tracy and David and then Jen and Randy Arney, who he was the artistic director of Steppenwolf, so he was kind of in a different realm from us, because we were all, you know, wannabe Steppenwolf at the time. And I'll just tell you, David has always had a reputation for caring so much for the performers, and always, and that has increased over the years. I think his sensitivity to just humanity, just to people. I think he's very considerate of the well-being of others. I don't know if he'd agree. I mean, I'm sure he'd agree. He might be thinking I'm laying it on a little thick, but I believe that sincerely. And when he's directing, first of all, he's very brilliant. He's super smart, and very funny, and very self-effacing. You know, so that he's not intimidating. So he, at the same time that, you know, he's the smartest guy around here, but he's not putting it in your face. He's not proving it to you. As a matter of fact, he undercuts it a little bit, because he's self-effacing in a way that is very, very, it evens the playing field. It makes everything really comfortable. And when he gives you direction, I mean, you study a script, you figure out who you are. Each word is giving you a roadmap to the psychology of the individual that you're working on, and you start to understand their history as a result, and you start working, you're getting deep on this stuff, And then you come in and you're in rehearsal, and David wants you to do something different, which interprets the same material differently. So then your whole psychological foundation has to shift, and that's a very hard thing to do, and it's a very painful thing.
Yeah.
And sometimes they want you to do it like that, and a lot of directors don't recognize what an ask they're making at that time, and David clearly does. Well, he's an actor. He's a wonderful actor, so he does understand that. But also, the way he does it is he doesn't do it as a correction. He does it, it's more like a gift. You know, he does it, and generally he'll also, frequently, he will preface it with some way of taking the edge off, frequently self-deprecatingly. And then he will give you this gift. And he's not asking you to tear down what you've done. He's asking you just to he's offering you a chance to do something, or an opportunity to find your way to the goal that does not hurt, does not challenge your efforts, does not force you to tear down the things you've built, but to maybe reimagine some things, but it's just a uniquely wonderful way of directing. I rarely have I experienced that. And I think
it's evident that watching this, and
that's kind of why I said it, because you were talking about what you saw on stage, and I do think that is partially where that comes from.
Yeah. So you talked about you've gotten to play a lot of interesting, possibly scarier roles, and I'm wondering, one, congratulations for getting to play roles like that, because a lot of us, like, we wish we can do that, and
I really just
sometimes
out,
I'm just like, I will never I can never do certain things because, like, no one will ever see me that way, and that's totally fine. I'm wondering, what's it like to and I don't know if this is just something that someone told me, and maybe it's incorrect when it comes to doing more professional style work, but in general, like, the villain of the show does not think they're the villain.
Absolutely.
Obviously.
Yeah.
How do you find the likability of these characters for you to play that might be so completely different to your beliefs or your politics or anything like that? I mean, I find that very hard to even watch when I'm watching people, especially actors that I love, and I'm like, you are playing a dick of a role.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
and
for sure.
I wanna like you because I like you as a person, and I know you're not the same as your character. However, like,
I think it's easy. It's easy to go because I am passionate about many things, and there are things that I will put my life on the line for, and there are things that I will fight for, and there are things that I will not bend on, or I am righteous about my beliefs, and I can take that righteousness. And like I played, I grew up in a super multicultural, super kind of progressive environment. Actually, I was actually a minority racially in the environment that I grew up in, and that was great for me. I had the most wonderful childhood, and I think I learned a lot of things that I think were valuable, and I more people should learn. But I've played. And my buddies who I grew up with came to see this show, and it was and I played this racist skinhead who had killed many people, but he was also. It was called Coyote on a Fence by Bruce Graham, and it's a play that you'd have to find it. I don't know if it's being done much nowadays, but it's about the death penalty, and I played this character on death row, and he was born with fetal alcohol syndrome, so he's cognitively diminished, or not diminished. He just never had it.
Yeah, right.
And then he suffered a lot of abuse, and the only person that gave him love was his uncle who was a Klansman, and so he ended up killing a whole bunch of people. And he thought it was the righteous thing to do. He thought it was what God wanted, and I got deep into this, and I believed it all. And I went there, and I had it with passion, because I'm passionate. Actually, in another case, I played another skinhead who was just a violent, racist, active, cognizantly capable person who just had those beliefs, and to go there was not that hard, because I'm passionately against racism. So that same passion that I have against racism, I could align behind a different philosophy. And I also, I grew up, it's kind of rough in my area too. So I've been in some violence, and so I just train those things and realign it, but it's the same passion, it's the same feelings, just realigned behind different philosophy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. I want to switch gears a little bit.
Sorry.
You did...
Kind of went overboard on that one.
No, it's okay. I love it. You did Sweat on Broadway as an understudy, and then you went on tour with it.
Yes.
And I'm wondering...
I took it over on tour.
Yes. I mean, you are a veteran of the stage, but going on tour with the show versus having a sit down on Broadway, I'm sure feels very different.
Yeah.
And did you find... Well, first off, let's talk about the difference of, like... how much were you able to find as like an understudy for Stan versus did you find more with what you wanted to do as the principal in this touring show or
Yeah, I found so much more. I mean, doing it, I don't know if I'm a great understudy in some ways. Because I'm a very physical actor. Which you probably could see in my performance. I'm just extremely physical. I think through my body a lot. And so getting most of it from the page, it's not in me. It's not in me until I'm in it.
Yeah.
And, until it's in my body. So not actually really going through a rehearsal process, or not really. I mean, the put-ins, like having 4 put-ins over the course of 10 weeks,
right,
is not going to put it. Is not going to. I'm not going to encounter that to such a place where it becomes my truth.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that was that. I think if I went on, I would have been fine. I didn't go on, and actually, I'm glad, because and then when we went on tour, we went through a rehearsal process. It became part of.
Right.
It was in my body, and then then the emotional things all were truer. So.
Yeah, I'm definitely someone who I gotta be able to do it for me too, because I can learn the lines and I can say them as many times as I want to, but if I'm not, and then you put on the costume and then all many things can change within that rehearsal process.
And
shoes are
everything to me,
the stage. Getting to take it around to different states, did you find that also changed the show in the sense of how the audience was reacting to it?
That was a real unique tour. That was Oscar Eustace's brainchild. It's his, because they do the mobile unit stuff from the public, which is where they take shows that they've done, and I think this is pretty consistent. This is true, and then they tour them around so that they're in neighborhoods or in places, largely for people who probably wouldn't get to see it otherwise, and just to have more people encounter the arts, and it's a wonderful program, and he wanted to magnify that and do it across the country, especially through the Rust Belt. And if you know what that play's about,
right,
those were the audiences, and they wanted to do it in going into communities where which could be divided by race and class, and to have them all come together. And we performed instead of in big Broadway houses, we performed in community centers or union halls.
Oh, cool.
And it was amazing.
Yeah.
So we had, and sometimes it's a closed union hall because the union had died in some sense, because the things that happen in the play have happened in this town.
Wow.
And so the work is across some border somewhere and some other, and so the people were the characters that they were watching.
Yeah.
They actually were us. And we would do it in a very, like, almost not quite in a round, in an avenue, or in a thrust.
Oh, okay.
And so that we are really in and among them, and we would actually, before we would do the show, we'd come out and we would talk to them,
about it.
and afterwards, as soon as the show was over, we were mingling with the audience.
Wow.
And so and then we'd have these wonderful discussions about how the circumstances that are explored in the play have hit their real lives, and actually there's sometimes when you see this old burly man, he'd just be crying, he's just talking about the things that have happened and how the show had touched his heart, and he had never seen a play before, and how, you know, how cathartic it was to see this, and his wife was holding him because he'd, you know, been through something that one of the characters had been through, and it was a really different way of doing a tour.
Yeah,
it was brilliant, and it was, I think, important. That was one of the moments when sometimes, like, I actually feel that way about this show. This is an important play.
Yes,
I think it's important. I think it's of value to our culture to see this play. I think. Yeah. In this moment that we live in, this crazy moment, and that tour was done. I don't remember actually what year it was. It was just before. I don't know if it was a midterm or national or like presidential election, but anyway, we did it during that time when all these questions were hot, and it was I think really that was one moment where I felt like this is art that truly matters, you know, as art can and should, as much as, you know, sometimes it can matter in a way that it's a relief from reality. That's an important way for art to matter. But in this case, in this play's case, and in Sweat, I felt like it was a part of a conversation that we were culturally having, and it provided, like I said, for that one dude and many other people, a catharsis and a reevaluation of themselves in the context of their communities. And also it brought communities together, because a lot of the time it was people that were, because a lot of the time when a community falls apart, the people at the bottom, if they are in culturally different groups, can see each other as the problem, rather than seeing where the real problem lies.
The hierarchy,
you know?
of it all,
and so that had happened in a lot of these communities. So it was beautiful. I mean, it was almost like a stupid Hallmark commercial. I mean, that's how it was, like, so perfectly effective. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and I mean, like, I don't know the show really at all, but obviously this one I seen and read, and I was like, whenever someone asks me about it, I'm like, well, it's not a show that you go to escape today. Yeah. Like, it's, if you want to do that, you need to go to a different show.
In some sense, I mean, it's a psychological thriller, so you can just really appreciate it on that level too.
Right, correct.
It's really just this wonderful psychological thriller, and it does have this. It's a roller coaster.
Yes.
A thrilling roller coaster.
Yes.
So it is that. And that's what it was in some. I mean, it was written to talk about real issues. It was written just as 30 years ago, and the internet was brand new. It was all porn and conspiracy theories, very different from today.
Yeah.
But it really was almost limited to that. But, and so and Tracy just.
I think everybody was
dove
after the
into
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma City bombing. Yeah, which is referenced in the play, and so it was really the beginning of those conspiracies and stuff, and so it's always been relevant. It's always been about. It's always been of some significance to whichever moment it was performed in, but it also was a fantasy. It was a wild fantasy, and I wish it still was just a wild fantasy. But it is, and it can be enjoyed that way too. I mean, I enjoy it that way.
Yeah. Well, I think above most of the things I enjoyed it for the artistry. Just getting to see you guys on stage doing what you're doing every night is, I mean, 8 shows a week is I mean, this is not easy.
It's a blast.
But I'm sure it just seems like you guys are having fun, which is like, if you see the show, you're not going to describe it that way. But, but I also just think it's so
there's so much laughter. I mean,
there is.
Well, and I mean, it's almost sometimes, if you were outside, if you're standing like in the hallway, the amount of laughter you hear, you think it's a comedy.
You think it's a comedy, which I also very much enjoyed, because I was like, well, it's a nice, like, I'm glad that it's funny and it's not all, down here.
See, that's Tracy Letts, man. Tracy Letts.
It's so well done. But also I just was like, I do have the questions of like, how in the world could someone believe this, that, and the other, especially these days. It doesn't have to be, I mean, I guess it is a conspiracy theory and whatever, but some of it is still even just so simple, at least I think it's simple, of like, this is right and that is wrong, and that should not be up for debate. It should not. And I'm like, well, I suppose if you are someone who is as vulnerable as Agnes, I could understand why you would want something to hold on to that you want
that makes sense out of your life.
Believe in. It's something that it's the first thing that she has, that she's like, this is something I can control of whether I believe this or not.
Right.
And that's also why I love the final monologue she has.
Yes.
That's like 4 pages long or something like that.
And it's wow.
And I told a friend of mine, actually, I was like, I want you to learn this monologue.
Yeah.
I think you would be wonderful, because she is pulling shit out of her ass, literally trying to get herself to believe something that she is forcing herself to find, and all he is doing is saying, keep going. That is a difficult monologue to make sense to, I think, anyone. And even reading it, I was like, oh my God, she's fallen, like, and I was like, but that's what an exercise to get to, because obviously in acting we're looking for, we're always looking for new things, or the exploration of it all, and that's why people like to see it, because we get those aha moments. And I was like, this is almost the opposite. She is making these aha moments that don't exist. They are not there, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh
but
my
they
gosh.
Make a lot of sense.
They
in that
make
moment.
so much sense to her,
and she needs it. But also, I'm telling you, there are people in the audience that are putting those pieces together with her.
I know, and I think that's one of the other things when people were like, "Are you happy? Or do you like that you read the play prior?" Because
do you?
I do, in the sense that I love knowing what's coming next. I am not someone who does well with not knowing what's happening. And I'm excited to see it the second time, because I won't be thinking, I'm going to attempt to not think about as much of like, okay, this is when this is going to happen. And I have to like ready my brain for it. But actually that first time around, I had really enjoyed, especially where we were sitting up above, I could see the whole audience, which meant I got to watch them watch what was happening for the first time. Granted, I'm also watching it for the first time, but I still knew what was going to happen. And it's one of my favorite games when I go to the theater, knowing what's going to happen. I think I really enjoyed seeing everyone watch Bug also for the first time, because the amount of twists and turns in this show is kind of also not what anyone is expecting at all. And I knew probably a quarter of that theater bought a ticket because Carrie Coon is in this show, and they have no idea what it's about.
Yeah, and that's true, man. Because I go out afterwards, and because here in New York, if you're on Broadway, there's frequently, you go outside, there's a whole bunch of people, and you're signing autographs and stuff, which is a new thing for me. I've not really done that. I mean, sometimes it happens a little bit. It's like 3 people,
right?
You know what I mean? But here you come out and there's like 40 people out there, and the conversations are wonderful. I really enjoy doing it, because it's like they're kind of like super fans. They're smart people. They're people who love it for a reason. I mean, sometimes it's somebody who just wants autographs. They're selling autographs or something.
Right.
Or sometimes it's people who are a little wacky. You know what I mean? But most of the people are like serious fans, and a lot of them didn't know the play. They saw something on Instagram, Carrie talking about it, and then they came, and they are so deep in it afterwards. They're so like you can feel the energy that they still have from having watched the show, and it's wonderful.
I love people watching. It's one of my favorite things, especially in the theater. But this was it really was a fun one, because the whole time I was like, I know what happens next, and just. And I think I also loved reading this because I am someone who puts together things quite easily, quite quickly. I usually understand the punchline before it's said. And so this play, at least reading it for the first time, I was like, where are we going? Like, I didn't know what was happening next. And I love a show that can get my brain there. Yeah. Because I'm usually someone who gets bored when I'm like, so by Act 2, this is going to happen. And, I did not get that with this, even seeing it and knowing what was knowing what was going to happen next. So,
and a lot of that is the pacing, which we were talking about earlier.
Yes.
A lot of that is
was so well done.
The design, and then David he really orders it in a way that is not apparently ordered. You know, and it's just really just wonderful.
And I also think it's interesting, like, I mean, this is also to Tracy Letts, but the opening of the show,
the kind of prologue here.
I mean, there's we don't get anything. I mean, we get a lot. We see a lot, but line wise, there's nothing until the phone rings.
Right.
Which I assume it's timed because she can't go for hours.
No.
But I mean, it's
completely choreographed, but it doesn't look like it.
It doesn't look like it. And I remember talking to someone, and I was like, "There's 3 full minutes of us watching someone live." Because I'm so used to the moment someone steps out, there's a line.
Yeah.
And I also, this will be a question that I ask her. Her and Namir get entrance applause.
Yeah. Did they when you were there? Mm-hmm. Okay, a lot of the time it doesn't happen, and I prefer it when it doesn't happen.
I also prefer when it doesn't happen.
I hate entrance applause generally.
Well, she got one, and it was a very, very hesitant one. Because clearly you're on stage. She's not going to look at us. This is not one of those shows. No. We are non-existent. We do not exist, which I love. I love a show where their back is turned to us. We're like looking, in a fishbowl. And it was, I think, someone started it downstairs, but it was a good 10 seconds into her walking on, and I was like, well, I'm glad that she's not saying words right now, because we would have missed it. And with Namir's, it wasn't loud entrance applause, but he did get one, and I was like, well, I don't quite know what he said, but I'm sure it was important. I mean, that's kind of my thing with entrance applause.
It never happened in Chicago. I mean, that's a cultural thing of Broadway, I think, and I kind of hate it personally.
I don't. I especially don't like them in plays.
Yeah.
Musicals, write it in.
I guess so.
Musicals were write it in.
They write it in, and then,
there's a big bap of the trumpets.
You
and
dance
the light
through
happen.
it or whatever. Yeah.
But it gets to a point where I'm like, we must chill out.
Yeah.
Please.
I hate it. Like, my buddy covered Nathan Lane in The Odd Couple, and he had to go on, and the worst part was the first 3 minutes of him on stage, because he was doing the choreography of entrance applause, and it wasn't happening.
Oh.
He'd come in, he'd walk, take his hat off, he'd walk over to this side of the house, hang his hat up, take his coat off, walk over here, put it on the back of a chair. Then he'd do all these things, and it's just in silence, because it's such a convention that there's always entrance applause.
Yeah.
And I guess with Nathan Lane and all that, that's because Nathan Lane is of a different kind of. I mean, not all of it. I mean, he's going to be doing Death of a Salesman shortly, which he'll probably get entrance applause, unfortunately. But in that case, I don't know if he'll even want it. I don't know. I don't know him. But.
I'm okay with. I'm slightly okay with it in a musical because it is often written in. But once we start losing a line, or once it gets to a point that the actor has to repeat their line.
Yes, and it just interrupts you're working to create a suspension, And it's kind of just saying, nope, we're not going to let you create a decision. We're here, you're there. You're on stage, and we're an audience, and we love you.
Yeah.
And you haven't done anything yet, but we think it's great what you haven't done yet. You know, I mean, entrance applause. Give me applause at the end if I do a good job.
Right.
And don't give it to me if I don't do a good job, you know?
Yeah.
But don't give me applause for walking on the stage.
Right.
I don't deserve applause for that.
Well, and I mean... Carrie said that for an interview when when her and Tracy did Virginia Woolf, she was like, "You're applauding for." Well, I don't think she got an entrance applause, but people would applaud for Tracy, and you know, Tracy is not who is on stage. I am not.
Exactly.
Carrie Coon is not who is on stage right now. It is Agnes.
Exactly.
And she's walked through a door, and she's turned on the AC, and she's pouring herself a glass of wine, and I'm like, I mean, I would applaud for myself if I also was able to get, do all of that in 2 minutes, but it's just, especially when it cuts off. I mean, it happens in musicals too, where there is a line said, and they have to repeat themselves, and they have to stop because, or you do a show like Ragtime where it is all underscored. Yeah. So they cannot stop.
Yeah,
they have to keep going. And I'm like, well, we missed that line. Yeah. We missed that line. And I'm like, it just seems,
to me, honestly, I think it's an indulgence that harms the experience for those who don't do it.
It does. Yes. Especially for folks that I'm like,
I
don't know the show. I want to hear what's happening. Right. Please.
Yeah.
So the last thing I do when I'm closing out the podcast is I give all of my interviewees 1 minute.
Okay.
Straight 60 seconds of completely uninterrupted time to talk about quite literally whatever you would like.
Okay.
So I will let you think about that while I pull up the timer, but that is
the
next thing.
Jesus, I don't know what to think. I got so many important things on my mind, but I don't know if I want to talk about any of them. All right.
All right. You ready?
My time here in New York has been a dream for many, many reasons. One of them largely being on Broadway, doing this play. But really, it's being with such wonderful human beings. Niceness, kindness. The kindness that is... And I was saying this now because I was just talking to Nikki, the new artistic director of MTC, about that being my experience of working here. And I think that's something, as we were talking about David and he's kind of a wonderful curator of souls or personalities. And so really there's not a single bully, and not even subtle bully. I mean, everybody is so supportive and kind, and that lack of drama is so beneficial to the product. Our work is I think stronger as a result. Everybody's so damn kind, and that is something that I knew about our group as we came in, because we've had that. But MTC, up and down, left and right, every crew member, every front of house person, it's just the way life should be, and it's just been such a pleasure.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. It was a lovely conversation.
Yeah,
and,
thank you.
If you can see Bug, you have until March 8th.
Yeah.
So come see it. It really is a wonderful production. I really enjoyed it.
And if you stay and I meet you at the stage door, because like I said, people do that, and it's always fun, say hello.
Yes.
That's how we met.
It is.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.